Hey guys, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, you know, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, college students, distinguished guests. I'm Jessica Ardeshna, this evening's MC, and on the behalf of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society of North Carolina and Hindu Yuva at NC State, I extend a warm welcome to all of you. We have gathered here today for a lecture on the ancient Hindu tradition of yoga. Um, which is a spiritual and a physical practice that has been developed and refined over thousands of years. Yoga is not just a form of exercise, but a comprehensive system for achieving physical, mental, and spiritual well being. We hope you find today's program insightful. Let me start by sharing the agenda for the evening. We will have an introduction of the speaker, Swami Yogatamananda ji. Swamiji will speak on the topic yoga and meditation, as all of you know. Post talk, we will have an interactive question and answer session where you can ask your questions to Swamiji. After the question and answer session, we will have a vote of thanks before we disperse. I'm sure it is going to be a great session for all of you, and you have free Indian snacks at the end of the session. Without further ado, I would like to give an introduction of Swami Yogatananda ji. Born in 1953 in Karnataka state, India, Swami Yogatananda ji joined Ramakrishna order in 1976. He received his monastic vows in 1986. After serving at Ramakrishna Math at Nagpur, which is in the Maharashtra state, India, for 20 years, he was posted as the head of Ramakrishna Mission Shillong. He came to the United States in the summer of 2001 as the Minister of Vedanta Society of Providence. Swami Yogatananda ji's present responsibilities include conducting Sunday service, weekly study classes, and organizing spiritual sessions. He is invited to preach Vedanta at different places in the United States. He also serves as the Hindu religious affiliate at Brown University, Providence, and the Hindu chaplain at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. I request Sumit Padkar, our event coordinator, to escort Swamiji on the stage. I would now like to invite, yeah.
He's already on the stage.
Oh, okay.
So what can be done,
He's already on the stage.
Does he want to sit on the chair? Maybe let's take the chair. Okay, no. Do I give him? I would like Bibhor to come on the mini stage and give Swami Yogatananda ji the bouquet.
Many thanks, dear friends from the Hindu Yuva at this North Carolina State University. My thanks also to Dr. Samrat Das, who actually coordinated this program for me when I was going to anyway come to address the gatherings at the Vedanta Center here. I said, if you can arrange something for the university, I can stay one day extra. So he said, we'll try. And then somehow it was a good success, as you have been already told, who gave a good introduction of me. What's your name?
Jessica.
Jessica. Thank you, Jessica. So, it is a pleasure to be here and talking on this very important subject. Important because we need a proper direction and wisdom along with all the knowledge that we are getting. It is, but let us begin with the proper prayers. It is, let us start with an age-old Vedic prayer, which actually is a very universal prayer. That many of you know it already, you can join in reciting it with me. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Come on, can you recite? Simple, isn't it? Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The words are pretty simple. Still, let me give English meaning of this in a few words. That it is a prayer that lead us from unreal to the real, from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, and from this limited mortal existence to the immortal, infinite existence. So this is a prayer which encapsulates the purpose of our life. As human beings, you see that we work or do something with an ideal, that a goal is there, a purpose is there, that for this purpose I am doing this activity. And when it comes to leading the life in a right manner, it is the goal of life becomes very important. That why are we living? So this is, we are living no doubt, and then we live like trying to, get some happiness from here, some knowledge from there, and somehow struggle through this process of life. But what for? That becomes a very important question that sometimes gets lost. And I am afraid to say that most of the time it gets lost in the din and turmoil of our daily activities. They become so important that we go along with them, but feel that what am I doing it for? So the title that I had given originally, and now that has been added, there is some addition to it which is very nice. Reset, relax and reset. Reset. It's a very good word. Reset means take a pause and look at the basics, the fundamentals. Why should we be doing all these things? What is the goal of our life? So it is very important, because to have the goal of life, then we can, on the basis of the goal, we can decide what is right and what is not right. If there is no goal, then how can you decide what is right and what is not right? Do you understand what I mean? It is that when there is a goal, then something that takes you towards the goal is right. If you don't have a goal, then what is right, you don't know. It is something like that it is, if you ask somebody that is this road right, the fellow will first ask you, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And if you say, I don't know, then every road is right and every road is wrong, because you don't know where you are headed to. So therefore it is important to have the goal of life. So this system is in a way twofold. first to determine the goal of life, and then how to they follow the means to get there. Both very theory as well as practice. I was talking to one gentleman there that he said it is very important for the engineering students, and I second his opinion that engineering means to be practical, you know. I like to speak to engineering students a lot, you know, because already there is the application of science built in their thought process, that if it is not applicable anywhere, then that knowledge is, they don't care for that knowledge. It is knowledge and its application. So all this spiritual understanding that we have is to be applied. It should be used so that it enriches our life, it directs it to the goal of our life. So therefore, it is good that I am speaking today at the engineering building, because the people in this building, those who study here, work here, or visit here, they have that mental get-up that I have to apply this in life. It becomes very, very important when it comes to spiritual life. Let me quickly tell you about what do I mean by spiritual life, because you hear this word very commonly and commonly used, especially at the university circles. Many people, for last probably more than 2 decades, they say that I am not religious but I am spiritual. It is a commonly heard phrase, I am not religious. What is meant by I am not religious is that I don't follow a particular discipline of a particular faith. I do not subscribe to certain religious dogma or sectarian ideal. So in that sense I am not religious, but that does not mean that I do not have any belief in something that is called spirit. And now let us understand what is the spirit. You know, but let us, for the purpose of our discussion, let us understand it more closely. That spirit is the unchanging aspect of everything. There is, we see that there is the changing aspect and unchanging aspect. Like our Dr. Samrat, he was telling that this Swami has known me from my childhood. Now, from his childhood, if I, at that time he did not look like this at all, nor did I look like that, like now I look. So it is, but so that aspect changes, our shape changes, our size changes. So they are all changing aspects of our life. The place that we live change. In fact, our body, it is, we although say that I am this body, it is, what does it mean? Body is a constantly changing something, a series of chemical reactions going on, and that is what is called body. You drink a water, now you change. So that is the changing aspect. Everything changes, but still we know that there is an unchanging aspect to it, and that is why we say that yes, this is the same Dr. Samrat that I met, or I used to meet some 35, 40 years ago, the same one. So where do I get that idea of sameness? You may say that, well, after 25 years, you may come here. Oh, I used to study in the same university. This is the same room. This is the same room in which I used to have most of my classes. And this is the lab that I used to work in. Now, what is same? Something is same, but lot of things change. So why do we feel that it is that one that I have been using? It is very funny. Yesterday I was giving a very familiar example in this matter, that as somebody would say, I am using the same flip-flops for 25 years. Every 6 months the person changes the top, the flip-flop part, and after 6 months changes the sole of it. So what is there now? Everything is changing, and yet you believe that I am using this same flip-flop for 25 years. The body is constantly changing, and yet again there is something that does not change. To find it out, to learn to hold on to it, that is called spiritual life. It is therefore very important to find out what is unchanging in us. And when we think about it, you are all students of science and engineering, so you can understand this train of thought. That it is, if you see that it is unchanging, what does it mean if you use this word unchanging in its, ultimate meaning, its logical conclusion? Then you have to accept that it is same in all. Same in all. Why? Because it is unchanging, means it is unchanged in space and time. Here and here, it doesn't make a difference. Now and then, it doesn't make a difference. And therefore, it is same everywhere for all the times. It takes a little effort, friends, to digest this information. And many of you may have question about it, that the spirit is our unchanging part, I understand, but unchanging part of me would be different from the unchanging part of somebody else. No, it is not so, because then it will be changing according to space and time. You already made my here and there. So, thus, if you see that it is unchanging, that you are forced to come to this conclusion that it is the one reality, that is the ultimate reality. It is same in all. So in spirit, we are one. Here you see, you hear this song in many churches, wonderful song bringing out the spirit of Vedanta actually. We are one in the spirit, we are one in the spirit, we are one, we are one, we are one. Where we are one? This is very important thought. We are one somewhere. Not as bodies, you can see, as bodies we are separate, different. But there is something that where we are one. That is why there is, if you see the psychology of these things, that there is the desire to become one. There is always, we say that unity is strength. We desire unity. All of us feel love. What is love? Feeling oneness. It is, as bodies, you can never become one. Hmm. You get attracted to each other. One gets attracted to each other. You can feel that let us come close. That is the idea of sex. That let us become one. But that oneness doesn't last. It is impossible. Two things cannot be made one in this way. It is, in fact, you may say that earlier they were two. Now trying to become one, they have become 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all that. It is so. You do not really become one in that way. But why is there that desire to become one in the first place? We get happiness through this feeling and application of this principle of oneness. Like somebody say likes ice cream. Do you like ice cream? Yeah. So now he is there and ice cream is here. And there is no happiness. When do you feel happy? When you and ice cream become one. So, in everything you see that the sense of happiness is in that unity. But this forced unity, like eating ice cream, how long will that happiness last? Barely a few seconds while that ice cream travels from your lips close to that goes down the throat, and then the happiness vanishes, and then the guts have to do hard work. So it is that happiness doesn't last. But when we really feel that oneness, when we see that spirit, and which is one in all, now we reach that oneness where the happiness becomes maximum. That is why the saints who knew this spirit, they became happiness itself. They didn't have to get happiness from anything. Now you cannot get happiness from anything because essentially we all are happiness itself. It is that one saint, since I met some Marathi speaking students here, let me give an example of a great Marathi saint, Jnaneshwar. So he says that you cannot make, that we need to take bath with water. Do you mean to say the ocean will also have to take a bath? Water doesn't need to take bath. Water is that what can be used for bathing others, but water doesn't need to take bath. So in our spiritual state, when we realize it, we don't have to crave for happiness. The life becomes, fulfilled life. Because you become happiness. You don't have to, if you want to make, say, tea or coffee sweet, you add sugar to it. What do you add to sugar to make it sweet? Is there anything that you need to add to sugar to make it sweet? You don't need to. Sugar is sweetness. You don't have to add anything to it. So, friends, when we touch that spiritual core of ours, when we get one with it, then you do not need to get happiness from outside at all. In fact, trying to get happiness from outside makes our life the life of a slave and beggar. If you get, say, pleasure from ice cream, you have to beg, hey, ice cream, please give me some happiness. And then ice cream doesn't give it for too long, maybe one scoop you may get some happiness. Second scoop you say no, no, enough. It is the law of what is called, law of diminishing returns, and that becomes applicable there. The amount of happiness that you get in repeated attempts, it goes on decreasing, because it is actually no happiness in those things. You become beggars. Oh man, give me some happiness. Oh woman, give me some happiness. Oh this and that, give me some happiness. We feel happy when our favorite club say wins Super Bowl. Our team wins Super Bowl, then we are happy. Now what does it depend on? It doesn't depend on you anymore. Your team players must play well, and not only that, the other team players must play bad, then only. So look, your chances of getting happy, becoming happy in this manner are just minimal. And when you get that happiness also, it has the reactions of misery. So therefore, how can we fulfill our desire to become happy? You have to go to the source of happiness. Where is the source of happiness? If you analyze, then you will see that the source is within yourself. You are happiness. When you are going outside to get happiness, you are going in the wrong, opposite direction. It is, and therefore there is the law of diminishing returns apply. It is like if you are feeling the fragrance of an incense stick. That incense stick is burning somewhere, and your sense of smell is registering its fragrance. Now, as you go in the direction where that incense stick is, the fragrance intensity will increase. If you are going away from it, then it will decrease. Law of diminishing returns, you go more and more outside, and the levels of happiness go on decreasing and decreasing. And it is not strange at all. That is, it is, if you analyze, that is the nature of things. Now, when it comes, this ideal is told, therefore, in the Vedanta scriptures, that we are one without second, Atman. One way, and that is from the ancient times, it has been told not only in India, but in all other cultures as well, but not in such a systematic way that in India, that system has been built for understanding and practicing it. It is the one pervading everything. Socrates said at the end of his life, know thyself. Know thyself, because all secrets are there. Everything that we want to know is right in that. So therefore, know thyself. It is when it is, this nice story is there about Moses speaking from the burning bush. God speaking from the burning bush to Moses. Moses asked him, who are you? A wonderful answer. I am that I am. It is to indicate that it is beyond any description. When you describe, then you really kill it. You cannot describe who am I. In our scriptures it is therefore told, Avang manasa gocharam, the beautiful Sanskrit expression, Avang manasa gocharam, beyond the understanding of mind and speech, means speech represents all the organs there. The mind and speech cannot get it. And so, it is the only way one can know it is by following the discipline called yoga. It is, what is this yoga? Turning your steps in the right direction. Instead of wrong direction, right direction. We have been running to get happiness, to get satisfaction, and therefore learning a lot. We have the desire to learn. That is another way of looking at it. We want to learn, expand our knowledge. But what is this knowledge? I remember, there is an Upanishad, Mundak Upanishad. It begins with this question, very beautiful question, that what is it, knowing which everything is known? What is it, knowing which everything becomes known? And the sage to whom this question was asked says that knowledge itself is of two types. One type is, you go out and try to collect facts, but it is about the changing things. And so your knowledge also changes. What you knew some years ago, and now, after some time, all that becomes what is called nicely obsolete. That is, that becomes, engineering students become aware of it very fast. Because what they know today, they have to keep this in mind, that after some time, all those facts, those that data that they have gets obsolete. One philosopher of science, those who study science or engineering, I suggest that you read that beautiful book by Karl Popper, that it is about the philosophy of science. And there you see some very interesting things. One is science cannot prove anything. Do you agree with that? Science cannot prove anything. Science can disprove, but cannot prove. Why? Because the science collects the evidence, the data, and then based on that data, it derives the conclusions. That is the method applied by science. You collect the information, collect the facts. But can you ever prove that whatever conclusion you reach, that conclusion will not be overturned by some data that will come in future? And we saw it in all the time, when I came to this country. This is about the medical science. Samrat, it was all told. No, coconut oil is very bad for your cholesterol. Terrible. Do not even look at it. Don't look at coconuts. And it didn't last for too long, after I came back in a few years, it got overturned. No, coconuts are good for you. Coconut oil is very good for you, for your cholesterol. And all that was told. So, this is how the conclusions of science are. So, nothing, that is, in that sage said that this is one system by which one knows. And he calls it the lower knowledge. Why it is called lower knowledge? Because howsoever much you may know about it, it is really knowledge of changing something, and therefore you really do not know anything. It is, there was a physicist in the beginning of the last century, a very famous physicist. He has written very nice books. James Jeans, his name. So, James Jeans, he said that all that we do in science is measuring the shadows. We cannot measure the things. We measure the shadows meticulously. But what happens? when the sun is, say, on the eastern horizon, and you measure the shadow of a tree, you see a long shadow. And you calculate, measure with, most accurate instruments available, and declare that this shadow's length is so much. After a while, the sun rises, the shadow becomes what? Shorter, isn't it? Hmm? Shadow will become shorter, smaller. Now, so somebody comes and tells that, oh, why you glorified that scientist? What he told was all wrong. The length of the shadow is not that. It is, now I measure it, it is only so much. When the sun rises right on the head, the shadow is not seen at all. So, this is all the knowledge of science is of this form, that it changes. It is the knowledge of the changing aspect that we saw. The unchanging, he said that knowledge, knowing which everything is known, is the knowledge of the self. So he tells that disciple, the student who asked the question, that tameva ekam janatha atmanam anya vacho vimunchatha, that know thyself. That is same in all. What we call Atman, there is not exact English translation for this, and therefore in the modern philosophical text, you will see even the Americans or European people, they do not use the word self, but Atman, the Sanskrit word itself, because it has certain connotations that cannot be exactly brought out by any English word. So, you know the Atman, that Atman is same in all. We feel that it is, my body is different from his body, her body, and we are different in bodies. But this substance is the same, and body changes. This substance, this self, is the same in all. Like in animal crackers, have you eaten animal crackers anytime? Animal crackers. That you have the same cookie stuff, but the different shapes of animals are there. So there is a crocodile shape, there is an elephant shape, a lion shape, a fish shape, but they are just shapes. You buy them by weight, 5 pounds of animal crackers. Now the shapes, they are just outer things. The inner substance is the same. So it is like that. We are like that, animal crackers. Difference is only in the shapes. But since we identify ourselves with shape, we do not know the same substance. And now I turn to the idea of yoga. I could go on and on describing these things, but there is the clock kept right in front of me. We Swamis, we talk too long. It is difficult to keep track of time. So therefore a clock is kept like that. Good. One preacher like that was giving talk for a long time. And then he said, oh, I must have spoken for a long time. But because there was no clock here, I lost the track of time. Somebody said, well, but at least you should have glanced the calendar that is on the wall there. So it is. So therefore I am now going to turn to the practical side. This practical side is called yoga. Means you understand the truth, but then you have to practice it. It is like you may read a wonderful book on swimming and understand everything, and maybe it will take just one day. Does it automatically make you Michael Phelps? Huh? Michael Phelps, have you heard about him? So, what can make you Michael Phelps? You have to put dedicated, determined practice with, under the guidance of an expert. And for a long time, one has to do it. It is that what Patanjali says in the yoga aphorisms, that it has to be practiced. Satudhirgha kala. For a long time, one has to practice it. It is, and Nairantarya, unbroken. Not that you practice today for a few minutes, then forgot about it for a week. No, not like that. It should be done regularly, continuously. And then you should do it reverentially, because it is something that is going to do good to you. You will be getting all happiness. What can be better than that? You will reach the goal of your life. You will, that realizing the self, that is what we call God. That self who is in all. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you can see this. Once I was giving a talk long ago at Brown University about this, and then the Catholic chaplain there came to me and said, in your talk you were again and again saying that the God who dwells inside us, God within us, we don't emphasize that. We emphasize God who are in heaven, means somewhere far away. I said, well, in your Bible don't you read that the kingdom of heaven is within us? He said, it is there, but we don't emphasize it. But for Hindus, for Vedantins, this is the primary idea. God who dwells within everyone. Everyone. As the great Swami Vivekananda brought this message to the world, that each soul is potentially divine. Do you get it, friends? Each soul is potentially divine. Let each of us say, I am divine. It means what? I am divine. Please say loudly. I am divine. I am divine. So I am divine. Now the question is experiencing this truth. We agreed to it intellectually, but intellectually agreeing doesn't mean experience. And unless we experience, we do not get the benefit of it. So, this is called, that practical part of it is called yoga. That you have now, what is this yoga? Learning to stop all other vibrations. There is just a negative aspect of it. And concentrate on this ideal. It is focus all attention on that. So that ideal, and remove all the other distractions. This is the basis of the practice of yoga. And that one aspect of that, or a very important aspect, is meditation. That concentrate on that. Meditation again has both these aspects, that like you sit and then observe all the thoughts coming in you. They are coming and going. They are changing. So then turn your attention on the divine that you are. Give some nice imagery for meditation. It becomes initially at least very abstract to meditate on myself, because we have the anthropomorphic constraints. We try to visualize things as per our human capabilities or conditions are. So it is advised that imagine in your heart a very beautiful flower, a very luminous flower, and then feel that that light is spreading all over. Mm. That light has filled your body. You have become light in a way. You are made of light. All the physicality dissolves in it. That every single particle in your body, all the bones, the blood, all the nerves, everything is made of light. Like in a statue made of clay, every single line is clay. The nose of the statue is clay. The shoulders are clay, hands are clay, feet are clay, everything is clay. So you have to feel that I am the light of this self. I am self. I am self. I am Atman. The Atman is all that I am. I am not this changing body and mind. I am Atman. You get filled with this light. This is a meditation. And then feel that that very light is spreading all over. Everything is dissolved in that same light. This same light has pervaded this whole universe. This is, you see there that oneness. All is light. All is one without second. And when one starts seeing this, what happens? Gradually, what you imagine will start becoming your feeling. First step is to understand, and then imagine, then feel. As you feel, you have achieved a big, step. That yes, you start feeling it. Because feeling governs our life more than our intellectual thinking. We may call ourselves intellectuals, but hardly anybody really fits that term. That kind of life we don't lead. Because although our intellect is sharp, we have sharp intellect but very weak. Do you understand the difference between sharp intellect and a weak intellect? Let me tell you. Intellect can be very sharp for most of us. We are students of science and all, you are all very brilliant students. I can see that you have sharp intellect. One day I was cutting, I think it was a jackfruit or something. I was cutting, and then the knife was pretty sharp. It went in, but then it could not cut it, the knife got broken inside. Because while it was sharp, it was not strong enough. And you can see that for most of us, most means don't think 75%. By most, I mean here 99.99%. The intellect is sharp. It goes to the bottom of the nature of the truth. But when it comes to experience, the emotions are too powerful. Our feelings are too powerful to let that intellect become functional. The force of power, these emotions, my intellect may tell me, hey, it is not right for you to eat these things. But then the feelings say, oh, no, from tomorrow I will think about it. It is. So, that is where the feelings need to be given a proper direction. That is another aspect of yoga. The intellectual yoga is called yoga of knowledge. But it alone can be practiced by very few. There was one great Buddha who could do that. There was one great Shankaracharya who could do that. But for most of us, it's not possible. And so, therefore, we have to use the yoga of feeling. That is called bhakti yoga or yoga of devotion. That one has to learn to feel that alone is real. That should be my life. That feeling must be generated, because actually love that we speak about, only the self is really loved. All other love is because of the self. A beautiful Upanishadic passage is there which describes this, that no husband ever loves wife for the sake of the wife, but for oneself. No wife ever loves the husband for the sake of the husband, but for oneself. Nobody loves children for the sake of the children, but for oneself. Nobody loves anything for the sake of that thing, but for oneself. You can easily test it, friends. Like you may love your sibling. You say that I love my brother, I love my parents, I love my university, I love my country. Now, what is the common word apart from love there? My, What is the meaning of my? You have put some I in it. And that is why it has become lovable for you. So, like you put sugar, that becomes sweet. So, when you put I in something, then it becomes lovable. So, what is that tells you? What is the source of all love? I. Yeah. So, that is where the feelings need to be turned. That is called the yoga of devotion, bhakti yoga. And then there is the devotion of action, that yoga of action, that learn to work. When you work selfishly, you get caught in that. You get bound. But there is this science of work called karma yoga, that work for others and work with detachment. Don't get caught in the work, but let the work not bind you. This is a very important thing to remember. Work, but don't get caught in it. And how you can avoid it? By feeling that these things are impermanent. They are not real. Impermanent, when you know something to be impermanent, you will never get attached to it. For example, you sit in a plane. I was, coming here from Providence. I was given this seat, 24C. So I said, it is my seat. But till when? Till I landed at Raleigh. At Raleigh Durham airport I landed. And then that seat didn't mean anything to me. I was not sad for leaving it. In fact, even before I needed to leave, get up, I was started thinking of taking all my things. So I was eager to give it up. Nobody sheds a tear while leaving the seat. Oh, my dear seat and all that. Nobody says, because that it is temporary. Why do we get caught in the world? Because all those relations, although we know intellectually to be temporary, that has to practically be understood. That yes, they are temporary only. God alone is real and permanent. So that is something that we have to practice. This is the practicality of it. This is called yoga. And then as we meditate, this will evolve in us. Then there is the yoga of this concentration. That is called the Raja Yoga. Learn to concentrate, that builds power and so forth. So these are kind of, like you have a car with 4 wheels. all the four wheels have to travel in the same direction, isn't it? If some are traveling to east, some are traveling to west, the car will not go anywhere. So, all these different faculties must be united and given the proper direction. So, friends, we have very briefly discussed these ideas about yoga and meditation. And just in 1 minute I recount them, that it is, first thing is, we have to understand the goal of life is to experience this self or the Atman. That is the goal of life, knowing the Atman. Then there is the second thing is, it has to be made practical. It is not just theoretical understanding, but it is the practical application. This practical application comes to us through the practice of it. It requires long time, but it does come because it is truth. This is how we can move forward, friends. And as engineering students, I am sure you will be able to do that. I am very thankful again to everyone who worked for this program to be successful. Thank you, friends, for attending. And now there will be some question-answer session. So,
Thank you, Swamiji, for the excellent talk. Thank you for your thoughtful insights on the philosophy of science and motivating us engineering students to become our higher selves just when our midterms are approaching. Now we'll have a short question-answer session. We request you to keep your questions short and precise. Does anyone have a question? It can be about anything,
Oh,
even
this-
about
this
any
young
guidance
man-
on your problems or
this
whatnot.
young man seems to have a question.
I was gonna ask, what is your favorite Bhagwan?
What is my favorite Bhagwan? See, this question gets asked to me many times, that the idea of God as self, that God who is everywhere. And now there is no particular form or particular, individuality to it. So now all other what you call Bhagwan, all other forms that God takes, now there is a variety in that. And that variety is, there are broad classifications in that, especially when it comes to the Hindu thought, that some are symbols. The symbols, there is the most commonly used symbol is the sound symbol, Om. Om is the most commonly used symbol. It is a symbol, but it is a sound symbol. Then that gets, into an image is made out of it, because we like form also. So that Om is given a form. You write it. Means it is, the sound is given a form. A script is what is a script? The sound is given a form. Now that is then further concretized, that it is called Ganesha. Have you heard of Ganpati or Ganesha? Ganesha is actually the sound Om. That is given a form. So therefore, as Om is written, in Bengali Om is written in a different, this script is different. And so there the Ganesha of Bengalis is not so pot-bellied as the Marathi people's or Gujarati people's Ganesha is. Because written like that. That is because it is the concretization, giving a form. It is given a 3D form. Then there are the stories built around it. So these are the symbols concretized, like this Vishnu or Shiva. These are such forms. So swastika is a form. All these forms. Then there is the next step. We are not even satisfied with that so far as our connectings to the divine. We want more human aspect to it. So we see the God as born like us, as a human being. That is the idea that is, in Hindus it is called God incarnating as a human being. Incarnating, coming, becoming like us. So we have Rama, Krishna, then Hindus considered Jesus, Buddha, they are also incarnations of God. God are taking the human form. Like in the Bible, in the book of John, it declares that in the beginning was the Word. The same thing that I was telling. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. From that everything that was made. And that Word became flesh. So that idea is there, that only thing difference is that in Christianity it is only one time the God incarnated. The Hindus say that every now and then, according to the need, the God takes a human form. The purpose is to teach humanity, because we learn only from human beings. In your university, who can apply for becoming a teacher? Only human beings, I suppose. No dog is allowed to apply for a position here, because it is our constitutional difficulty that we can learn only from human beings, and so God also takes a human form. There the beauty is that it is in human form, but actually there are no human limitations as such. That is how that we see that God, Bhagwan. So I worship the God in the form of one such incarnation, the most modern one, that is Sri Ramakrishna. So that is the incarnation that I love, I adore, and I follow, try to follow. That because we can follow the incarnations of God. We cannot follow Ganesha. We cannot follow Vishnu. We cannot follow Shiva, because they are not exactly human beings as such. They present the ideal, they symbolize the ideal, they are very good, but we need role models, and that is the incarnation of God. I remember in Providence once one little girl had come with her grandmother, and the grandmother said that she has a question for you. And this little girl, that is long ago now, that little girl has a little girl of that size. So anyway, so it is, she took me to our chapel. There were all the wooden chairs then there. And then there was the picture of Sri Ramakrishna. So she asked me a beautiful question, that is he a god or is he a man? Wonderful question, isn't it? Is he a god or is he a man? Then there were these wooden chairs. I asked her, is it a chair or wood? And that brilliant little girl said, understood. That it is, the wood is the substance, chair is the functional form of it. That it is, so it is wood, but it is used as chair in that particular form. So God, assuming a form. That is, I think I tried to answer your question to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for answering his question. You answered very well. We'll take all the other questions offline. You can email us. You can email him. Now I would like to call Hemant Kumar, our advisor of Hindu Yuva, to deliver a vote of thanks.
everyone. On behalf of Hindu Yuva at NC State, I thank Swami Yogatmakanand ji for coming to NC State and giving such a good talk. We learned about yoga and meditation, an essential element in the university journey as student. Thank you, Swamiji. I thank the Vedanta Society for bringing Swamiji to our campus. I thank all the volunteers who planned well in advance and made sure the event ran smoothly. Thank you. And I thank you all for coming in and being a good audience. For more updates, you can follow us at our Instagram handle, Hindu Yuva and CSU. Thank you.
Thank you, Hemant ji. Now I request Dr. Samrat Das, Vice President of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society of North Carolina, to give a
He
word
is
of thanks.
president, he is not vice president.
The President. A small description about him. He is the Associate Professor of Pediatrics at Duke University of School of Medicine and also the immediate past President of American Federal of Medical Research.
On behalf of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society of North Carolina, I thank Hindu Yuva of NC State from the bottom of our heart. This is the third program we are doing in the last couple of years, and every program, the collaboration has only grown stronger and stronger. Thank you to Swamiji, Pranam, and for giving such an enlightening talk. We have a beautiful but small center on Globe Road in Morrisville. Please do visit. We have Swamiji's coming almost twice a month, and we have public celebration. Time to time we have some bigger public celebration. Next weekend, October 22nd, we have Durga Puja, and then November we'll have Kali Puja. Try to attend. You're invited to attend those events. But thank you, Sumetji and Hemanji and all of you, and Hindu Yuva worked tirelessly. We did not do much except bring in some snacks for you all. So on your way out, please do have a snack box. Thank you again.
Thank you everyone for coming to this session. Couple of announcements before we disperse. In the lobby outside, we have volunteers who are distributing food packets. Please go patiently and please be in a queue. I request all of you to collect them before you leave. Thank you and namaste.